Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, the campaign by Muslim women in India to end the practice which allows Muslim men to instantly divorce their wives. Also, we meet Dana White, a leadership consultant and former advisor to Republican Senator John McCain, and talk about what it actually takes to be a good leader. And the African soap opera that aims to do much more than just entertain as it spreads the word about maternal health and other issues. But we begin in India, where the Supreme Court has said it will examine just how far it can interfere in Muslim laws governing family-related issues. This as it hears a plea to end a practice allowing Muslim men to divorce their wives by simply saying talaq 3 times. Thousands of women have signed a petition calling for a nationwide ban on instant divorce.
Talaq, talaq, talaq. An Indian Muslim man need just utter a magic word 3 times to make his wife disappear. It's how Sadaf Mahmood went from being a wife to a single mother in a flash. Her husband ended their 5-year marriage by writing the word, meaning literally, I divorce you, 3 times in a letter. Left alone, unemployed and penniless, Sadaf and her daughter moved back in with her father.
They don't care about our lives, responsibilities, nothing. They are on their own. He got married again, someone else. He's living happily. He never turned back to us. He don't even look up at her, my child.
Apart from an initial small payment, the woman cannot claim any support from their former husbands. Shaista Ali was left to raise her 2 sons alone after her ex-father-in-law forced the couple to divorce.
He called both of us to discuss some domestic issues, but he suddenly changed and started beating my husband. The family told him he favoured his wife and called me a liar. They asked him to divorce me and forced him to say talaq. They kicked me and I fell unconscious.
Only men are allowed to invoke talaq, and NGOs say thousands of Indian Muslim women have been abandoned in this way. But the practice is now being challenged in the country's top court. Campaigning for 6 years now to ban these instant divorces, the Indian Muslim Women's Movement has gathered 50,000 Muslim signatures. Meanwhile, some religious leaders have defended talaq, fearing a uniform civil law and damage to their cultural identity. The next court hearing is set for September 6th.
Now, as Theresa May becomes Britain's second female Prime Minister, the first, of course, being Margaret Thatcher, you'd be forgiven for thinking we were still in the 1950s if you solely relied on some of the UK media's coverage of the event. The London Sun just couldn't resist itself commenting on Theresa May's shoes, once again confirming the inevitable obstacles women face as they assume positions of leadership. Dana White runs a leadership consultancy in Washington, D.C., a former advisor to Republican Senator John McCain. She's just written a book on what it takes to become an effective leader, appropriately entitled Leader Designed. And she joins me today in the studio. Dana, thank you so much for being with us. Your book is very much gender neutral, but the struggles male and female leaders face are actually very, very different, aren't they?
Very different. I always define great leaders by their vision, their ability to serve, and their ability to empower people. And really, women are naturally inclined to all of those things, whether it's as a mother, a teacher. We really try to help other people amplify their performance. And men really perform, but it's really very centered on them. Whereas women work very collaboratively, they work together, they have great ideas, and we empower each other, and men as well. Leadership is a natural inclination for women.
Dana, what would be your topmost tip for any woman wanting to achieve a position of leadership?
One thing is to be able to move on quickly. One of the biggest problems I've faced in my own career is women tend to marinate on problems or failures much longer than men. I worked at the Defense Department. Men can get very upset. Mistake is made, but 5 minutes later, it is over. And that ability to move on and to just do better is something that women really do need to work on and can learn from men.
I started there by talking about Theresa May, who of course is becoming Britain's second female Prime Minister, and the sort of the tough obstacles that she's going to face. Given that you're based in Washington, just how hard is it still for women politicians on your side of the Atlantic?
It's still very hard. I mean, the Republican Party has made gains. We have Governor Nikki Haley in South Carolina, Susana Martinez in New Mexico, but it's still very much a boys' club, and it's about men's comfort with one another. It's very, it can be difficult for women because men often aren't comfortable with women of authority, and quite frankly, clever women sometimes. And so that's still quite a barrier. And it's not to say that you can't succeed, but you succeed differently.
And talking about the Republican Party these days, you obviously then need to talk about Donald Trump. How damaging is he for the Republican Party, especially when it comes to the women's vote?
Yeah, he's very damaging. It's like I said, we've made certain progress. I think the Republican Party has an opportunity with a new generation with the civil rights of blacks sort of dying out. You have a new generation of black voters, a new generation of women voters. So a lot of his, non-productive conversation about Suzanne Martinez, his comments generally, and his past, it's not great for the Republican Party, and we probably will have to do a great deal of rebuilding if he is elected, or even if he's not, frankly.
But isn't it surprising that we're in 2016 and you have a candidate who says the things he does about a woman and is getting clearly a lot of support?
I think that's more of a reflection of the state of masculinity in America. There is so much anger among men about where they fit anymore. And I think you see that among his rallies, and you have a lot of working class white men who have really lost jobs, whether you're talking about coal, whether you're talking about the auto industry, who are really struggling. And I think even white collar men, I think America is really struggling with the value of masculinity. And I think that populist surge that Donald Trump has been riding has everything to do with testosterone.
Okay, well, we're talking about the presidential campaign, and of course we're going to have to talk about Hillary Clinton, the Democrat nominee. What do you think of her?
I think Senator Clinton has done a great deal, but Senator Clinton fails to understand that the presidency isn't about her. Even if you listen to her slogan, "I'm with her," she really has to talk about America in terms of how she can serve America. And she doesn't do that. She has a lot of plans, a lot of detailed plans, but no one really knows where she is going. And Donald Trump is the opposite. You have America's great, he has a destination, but no one knows how he's going to get there. So Americans, bipartisan, are really struggling with these two choices. Hillary has to make the case beyond on the first woman. She has to make the case for why she's the best person to lead America.
And if we're talking about people achieving positions of leadership, you cannot help but mention, obviously, the three women who are leading the Black Lives Matter movement.
Absolutely. That's incredibly important. In America, about 70% of black children are born out of wedlock, raised by single mothers. And so with so many black men dying at the hands of police, it's really important that mothers tell their sons the reality of their situation. As a black man, you cannot, I have two brothers, you cannot act the same way a white man would act with police officers. You are instantly seen as more aggressive, and you are more likely, although statistically, whites are still killed by police officers more often than blacks, but blacks only represent 13% of the population. So as a black man, as a black son, we really have to teach them what are the limitations of their behavior.
So it's coming back to on the shoulders, rather, of black women.
It absolutely
to take the community forward.
Once again, it will be our responsibility. And we need the help of black men, but at the end of the day, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, and black women will have to educate their sons about, frankly, how to stay alive now.
Dana White, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And finally, it's not your usual TV soap opera. The Senegalese-made TV series Cest la Vie, or That's Life in English, has become a hit across West Africa. But its aim is to do much, much more than capture viewers with a gripping storyline. Its actual goal is to create awareness about maternal health and family planning, among other issues.
Cest la Vie, or That's Life, has revived Ratanga, the imaginary working-class neighbourhood where the series is set. From the buxom doctor's assistant to the naive midwife, all the characters from season 1 are back in service around the same theme.
On woman, with woman, for... I don't want to be super feminist and say for woman, but it really concerns them from start to finish.
Je veux voir ma femme tout de suite. Sinon, vous aurez affaire à moi. Ah, te voilà toi.
Cest la Vie features women around a workplace, the health centre in a working-class area. As the plot thickens, viewers are made aware of issues ranging from maternal and child health to domestic violence. Serious topics delivered in an entertaining way, a balancing act for Marguerite Aboué, well known to comic strip fans.
My characters have their own messages, so we don't need them to go over the top. From the moment that we know a woman has been beaten, we don't need to say anything more. It speaks for itself. Which is why it's important to tell stories of the same standard as our characters.
Created with a budget of around €30,000 for each episode, the show's entire technical team is Pan-African, from the stage direction to the young producers. The filming of season 2 is expected to continue until mid-August.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France24 51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please do keep those comments coming in. Now, we'll be taking a break over the European summer and replaying some of our best of. However, we're going to be back in early September with a brand new series. So until then, bye for now.